Alright, so I don't know how well you know me, but if you know me pretty well, you know that I have some pretty fucking crazy dreams. I have weird dreams. Maybe you have weird dreams as well. I kind of hope you do. I like having weird dreams myself. Um, I think weird dreams are great. I think they're a lot of fun. Anyway, I digress. I had a pretty, like, great dream. Like, quality level dream. I had this dream in like the space of 2 hours of sleep because I woke up really early in the morning and I went to sleep for 2 hours and I woke up after 2 hours and I was like, wow, that was a fucking dream. Anyway, let me tell you about this dream because it is really worth listening to. I think because it's I don't have a word. I just had to make that facial expression. I don't have a word to describe like the level of strangeness that happened here and like the level of yeah. So this dream, it's got kind of a two-part. There's two kind of main plot sections. Things that are gonna help you in this dream. Three things. Firstly, if you've met my mother, that's gonna help you. It's not a big deal. Second thing, you probably want to know what Elton John looks like. If you don't, Google a dude. That's gonna be important. Thirdly, you probably want to know what the blue Power Ranger, the black guy from the new Power Rangers movie looks like as well. Because for some reason that was tangentially important in this dream. Anyway, so the main setting of this dream is it's like there are these two kind of like quasi seaside apartments, and they're about two, three, maybe three, I think three stories high. They're built with a lot of beige brick. There's gray carpeting. There's glass and metal railings on the balconies. Good open windows. Kind of looks over these kind of like backyards, which are like almost tennis courts, but like not quite. And then there's a bit more houses, and then you got the seafront, and the weather's amazing. It's quite a ritzy, nice place. And these two apartments are right beside each other, and they have like a fence on the backyards dividing them. But if you go out the quite long backyard, maybe 30-meter backyard long and thin, then you can leave the backyard. You can go into the other backyard and go into the other apartment. I don't know who these apartments belong to. I don't know like if that's important at all. Anyway, and I've forgotten something which I wish I remembered. Anyway, so there's this woman, and she's kind of older. She's kind of early 50s, kind of similar age to my mother. She's quite thin, like not sickly thin, but she's just quite thin. And she's quite tan, dark hair. Probably may have been good looking, may have been kind of average looking, whatever. Anyway. So she's disabled, and I can't remember if she's had her legs cut off or paralyzed. But I know how it happened because for some reason, like I'm having these conversations with her at one of the apartments. Maybe one of them's hers, that seems reasonably likely. And I'm having these conversations with her, but in the conversations, I'm also somehow like traveling into her memories and going back in time with her and like living the events of her life and like what led up to her crippling, like how she got crippled and is now confined to the wheelchair. And why am I doing this? Well, it's simple. I'm trying to, like, for whatever reason, set her up as a friend for my mother, which isn't necessary. My mother has a lot of friends, but this woman kind of is the kind of woman who I could kind of imagine my mom being friends with, but I don't know why in this dream I'm trying to set her up as my mom's friend. So that's weird. That's happening. Don't know why. So that's the kind of the first half of the dream, and that's not the funny bit, that's just a bit strange. But let's elaborate on a different strange part of the dream and why I wanted you to know what the Blue Power Ranger looks like. Why? Because I have the role of the Blue Power Ranger in this dream for some reason. I am the Blue Power Ranger. I know this. And for some portion of the beginning of the dream, while I'm talking to this woman, I am morphing between me and this black actor who plays the Blue Power Ranger. Like, sometimes I'm me and sometimes I'm him for bits, but I'm always the Blue Power Ranger. I'm never in the suit. I'm just become the actor for brief periods of time at the beginning of the dream. And no one really cares. I don't seem fazed by this. She doesn't seem fazed by this. We continue traveling through her memories, learning how she got crippled, so I can set her up with my mom and they can become great friends. That's happening. Great. Cool. So that's going down. You know, we go out of the apartments, we go for a walk on the street. You know, that's how I know the layout of the backyards and that you can go from one apartment to the other, you know, via the gates. You know, very important for her considering the wheelchair, but less important for me because, of course, I can fly in this dream. I can fly in nearly all of my dreams, which is great. So, and this is where this is just where it really gets strange, and this is why I'm bothering to talk about this at all. So the second half of the dream, I fly to the second story of, I think it's the 3-story apartment, and it's the, if we're facing forward from the apartments and we're looking out the balconies or to the sea, it's the apartment on the left. So I fly over the balcony, the glass balcony with the, you know, metal railings and the big sheets of glass, and I fly into it and I just go into the second story of this apartment. It's kind of all great carpets, great couch, pretty crap. And then I go up these stairs into like the top floor, and there's this bedroom, and like lying in like the paint me pose in like a suit, like not on the bed but like on the floor, just like beside the bed, resting against it, is Elton John. And somehow I know that somehow, through some arrangement, I'm now obligated to date Elton John. Very strange. What the fuck? He knows, though, and he's like expecting this. And we have a small conversation. He comes over to me and things, and I always avoid having him touch me because it's fucking Elton John and he creeps me out. So that's going down, and then we go up something in the top floor. He's like, I think I'm trying to kind of quasi get away from him while continuing the conversation, so I'm walking away, and I go up further up the top floor. I think maybe there was a ladder or something, or maybe we just somehow float through a hatch in the roof. Maybe because I can fly, I float through the hatch in the roof, and somehow Elton John follows me. And anyway, we end up on the roof of this building. Him still kind of quasi pursuing me, kind of wanting to be, I don't know what he wants to do, hold my hand or touch me or whatever the fuck he wants to do, but he wants to do that. But I'm humoring him with the conversation, but also physically slowly running from him at the same time. Okay. Anyway, so we're on this roof, and it's all black tiles, and it's a slanted roof. It's not like a steeple or anything, it's just a straight slant. And we go up the slant, and this is where it gets weird. He tells me he's going to take me to Venice, alright? And we're not in Venice, we're definitely not there. And then we walk over the top of the slant of the roof, and we come off it, and we're fucking in Venice on a street. It just happens like that, because the dreams are great. But I'm not walking anymore, and I was walking in the apartment. Now I'm sitting cross-legged in the yogic lotus position, and I am floating. So I'm at the same head height I would be if I was at walking, but I'm just cross-legged, just floating off the ground. Elton John never comments on this. No one ever comments on this. It just is completely normal. So me and Elton, I'm floating down the street. Elton John is kind of walking beside me, continuing his conversation, which I'm not paying a lot of attention to, but I'm very, very bored by. And I really, really don't want him to touch me, but I really know he does want to physically touch me in some way, whatever it is he wants to do. So we're going down this street, and I'm like, I gotta get away. I just gotta get away from Elton John. Whatever obligation that's had me dating Elton John is not something I care about anymore. And so we're going along, and I'm getting, freaked out. I'm getting a bit desperate. I'm getting a bit frightened. I really do not want him to touch me. That's very important to me in this dream. Also important to me in real life. Do not want to be touched by Elton John. No, thank you, Elton. Stick to the piano. Touch that. Don't touch me. Anyway, so there's a side street, and it's not like a side street. It's just a street on the right of us, and it's a nice street. One half of the street is a park, and it's got a really high wall with the kind of pinky beige stonework, which is more kind of something you might see in Italy, like a proper Italian city like Rome or something, not, a kind of quasi aquatic city like Italy. Not Italy, I mean Venice. Whatever. And the other side of the street is all really big, nice, fancy restaurants, and it's a really big, wide street. Everything here is super wide, and there's no pedestrians at all. I mean, apart from us, and there's no cars either on these roads. It's all cobbled, and they're really wide roads. Everything's very nice, very clean, really pretty. And I go down this side street. I start floating in Lotus still faster and faster, and there are some people sitting at the restaurants on the street, and I just float down the street faster and faster, not wanting Elton John to chase me. I'm trying to get away. And he doesn't chase me. His kid used to talk, engrossed in the sound of his own voice and his own fucking boring conversation, and walks down the street, and I float off my street faster and faster, willing myself to float faster and faster, trying to get away and not be caught. And then I wake up. That was my dream. So first half is there's this crippled woman, and I'm constantly transforming between me and the guy who played the Blue Power Ranger. So I guess I'm race changing, which is not something that I really think about in the dream very much. And honestly, it's not something I think about now, because the second part, the dating Elton John part of the dream, where I'm floating in Lotus down that street with him and having that odd conversation with him in the bedroom in that strange pose on the floor but resting against the bed, those are much bigger in my mind. So it's like first half of the dream, going through this cripple's past in her mind to try and make her a good friend for my mum. Second half, dating Elton John, also trying to escape from Elton John. Yeah, so now you know. I have weird dreams.